Welcome back, everybody. This is QuestionMarc, and I'm here with my roommate once again.
Hello.
And we are looking at the rest of the new commanders from Avatar The Last Airbender, this time the standard set that you will find in Play Boosters. And we're ranking them on a tier list from lame to excited. It turns out that we have a total of 65 new commanders. I tried to limit it exactly to the ones that count and not those that don't. So there's one vehicle in this set that counts as a commander, and there's a few enchantments that Scryfall thinks could be a commander, but they can't. That said, if we let's see, if you are curious about any of those that have the little wing symbol as the set symbol, that is in our other video, which covers Avatar The Last Airbender Eternal. This is for everything else. And we're going to go ahead and start off alphabetically with Aang at the Crossroads, who is 2 generic mana, a green, white, and a blue, so 5 total, for a 3/3 legendary creature human avatar ally with flying. And when Aang enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And when another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the beginning of the next upkeep. When he transforms, he becomes Aang Destined Savior, who is colorless now, probably won't matter, is no longer human, he becomes an avatar ally, and he's a 4/4 flyer with land creatures you control have vigilance, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, Earthbend 2, which, just to say it for the first time here, Earthbending for this video means target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste that's still a land, put 2+1/+1 counters on it, and when it dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. So that's a mouthful. So why don't we hear your first impressions on Aang at the Crossroads?
So it could make 2 interesting decks that are kind of at cross purposes.
At a Crossroads, okay.
Which, sure, yeah, fits with the name. But yeah, so it's anyone brewing with it. Make sure you kind of know what deck you want and don't go in too many different directions. Because the front and the back side kind of want to do different things.
Oh yeah, the backside cares all about land creatures, and the front side doesn't. The front side gets you like one free thing.
And you could make a blink deck.
Oh, yeah.
White and blue are very good colors for that. And so just, yeah, I mean, general blink value deck, and whenever you blink Aang plus a bunch of other things, you're getting to, I mean, see a whole bunch of cards, which is wonderful. And if you're doing that blink stuff, you'll commonly flip Aang just accidentally because you blinked a different creature too. And then you'll probably want to blink Aang back so that you're not losing the value that you want for your blink deck. Because all of that backside doesn't really work with a standard blink deck.
Yeah, Aang Destined Savior is slightly larger, still has flying, so considering that the front face of it actually only has an Enters ability, it's not like it's a bad thing to have it flip, it's just that the only way that this deck really makes sense on the front is to be flickering it in some way. And so if it flickers onto the back, whatever, you just flicker it back again, and you do the front side again.
Yeah. Maybe
and if
wait.
it's stuck on the front, I mean, you airbend a land. It's minimal value. It's really the Enters trigger that you want.
Yeah, no, if it's a full lands combat deck, and then them having vigilance can be a very nice thing. A lot of lands combat decks already have a way to make sure you can both attack with the lands and still swing with them and tap and get mana at the same time. But yeah, mostly you'll accidentally kind of non-bow yourself a time or two, and maybe you wait to blink Aang back until after you've gone to combat to get a land creature, and then blink him back and you're all good.
Yeah.
But you could accidentally hurt yourself and your synergy and shut off the front side of Aang when you don't want to.
So, I mean, I'm torn on this one between questionable and high potential. I don't think it's better in the 99 as a three color creature that does like a couple of different things that don't synergize. So it's either high potential because it is a pretty good Blink commander, I think, or questionable because there are probably better Blink commanders out there, probably a handful.
Yeah, I mean, it does give you three colors, which is nice and more than a lot of the Blink commanders do.
True.
And it could have a different feel than a lot of the Blink commanders are. The commander has Blink,
Yeah.
and this is the payoff rather than the input.
True. If you want to cram your deck full of cards that do the blinking, he's the target, as opposed to the other way around, where
Yeah.
usually their commander would be the one doing the blinking and your deck is full of the targets.
Yeah. So pros and cons gives options.
It also gives you a free creature with mana value 4 or less, which should be plenty of options out there. Lots that are good playable commander cards. I mean, I'll tell you what, the main thing that comes to my mind is the kitten. Mana value 4 or less, and it's one of the easiest blink triggers out there to abuse.
Yep.
So, Displacer Kitten seems to be what you want. You know what? I think I have to put it in high potential. Because even if there are better Blink commanders out there, this is a decent one and gets you that extra color.
Yep. There'd just be there's still the asterisk of questionable of make sure that you don't accidentally hurt yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine building some like bracket 2 decks that are so sloppy, that they don't really work very well. But just give it just give it some time in the cooker. Think it over, and you'll be all right. Probably. So next we get to Aang Swift Savior, who is a colorless, a white, and a blue for legendary creature human avatar ally. He's still got flying, and he's a 2/3 for 3. This time, though, he's got flash, and when Aang enters, airbend up to one other target creature or spell. Then you can waterbend 8 to transform Aang. And because this is our first time talking about waterbending today, and the reminder text is not here because it's a rare that ran out of space, I guess. Actually, they included the reminder text for airbending, but not for waterbending. Yeah. So for airbending, it exiles in this case, creature or spell. And while that spell is exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 generic mana rather than its mana cost. Keeping in mind, if you exile a spell, that spell is effectively countered, if not literally countered. It does not have its effect. Also, waterbending means that you can pay you can pay 8 generic mana, although you can tap artifacts or creatures to count as 1 generic mana each towards that cost. Lastly, it transforms into Aang and La, Ocean's Fury, legendary creature avatar spirit ally, who's a 5/5 with reach and trample, and whenever Aang and La attack, put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. Okay, so once again, I've had to talk a lot in order to just say what the card does, so let's get your take.
So it is a creature that kind of pseudo blinks. Not more fair than normal blinking. It's not counterspell on the commander since they can just cast it again for 2. Yeah. If you're doing it on their turn, they still have the timing to be able to do whatever they wanted. If you're using it as an answer on someone else's turn, then it buys you the 1 turn, same-ish as a bounce spell, a little bit better. The waterbending is 8 is a pretty steep cost, so you're gonna not be able to do that on turn 4 probably.
Right.
So he's gonna have to stick around for a little while. That means it's probably not a bracket 4 deck. But you want to go wide, probably more creatures than artifacts. But sure, if you have a mana rock, or we wouldn't be able to pay already. But if you have some sort of bauble, sure, that can help. Flip them over again.
Sure.
And that's basically a slow go wide anthem. And so, yeah, you have a whole bunch of creatures that are tapped because you either just transformed Aang or you're swinging with all those creatures the next turn, and they get a +1/+1 counter. You got 10 of them, that's 10 damage, 2 turns, if they're actually swinging now, so an extra 20 damage. That hurts, but is going to be a pretty long clock. He still has trample on himself, still commander damage for 7. That's not bad. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit slower of a go wide, kill people. You're not doing the Crater Hoof Behemoth instantly, alpha swing. You're chip damaging over 3, 4, 5 turns to be able to kill people.
By the way, I was just thinking about a card like, I think, maybe I'm thinking of this one as a simple version of it here. I was thinking about if there may be an infinite combo. First off, with Aang, I was thinking, oh, can he exile himself? No, it says right on it, other creature can't exile himself. Okay, what if you exile Aether Adept, right? And then you can recast it for 2 generic. And then when you do that, then you bounce Aang. And then you can drop Aang for 2 generic. Back and forth and back and forth.
5 mana loop is kind of expensive.
Add into that Urza's Incubator, naming human. And now you do have an infinite combo. So that's 3 pieces, though, where one of them is your commander. And I think that is kind of the going rate for a acceptable combo, even in, like, bracket 3. We've got 3 pieces.
Yeah, doable, not the most compact combo. I'm not sure if there's a ton of all similar cards. So if you're searching for specific creatures,
yeah, it's kind of weird. You could do like an Aang human deck, because you can also, I think this works, return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Yeah, that one works. There might be enough human wizards out there an opponent controls. Not that one.
Yeah.
Especially since airbending will always change the cost to bring the thing back to 2 generic. So if it is reduced by something like Urza's Incubator, then it becomes free always. So there could be some kind of...
I mean, you still have to pay 2 colored mana for Aang when you replay him.
No. So you only have to pay the commander tax, if that's what you're talking about.
No. So you've bounced Aang back to your hand. You have the Urza's card on there, making it cost 2 colorless less. But you still have to pay the white and the blue for Aang.
Okay, no, never mind.
So
all right, you know what?
there are ways to probably loop it, but most of them are going to cost you some mana.
No, you're right. Originally, I was thinking about Aang, like, flickering himself, and then you recast himself for 2 generic. But no, you're totally right. Bouncing him back to your hand, you still have to pay the full cost for him. Okay.
Yeah, Displacer Kitten would still work. You could still get loops with it. But yeah, definitely a little clunkier loops. And the main thing you're going to have to overcome is the mana.
Okay. Because I thought, there's a reading of this card which is clearly like how it is intended to be used. It's an answer to something. It's removal, it's a counter spell, and then it can flip into a big old beater and turn into your win condition as well. That's clearly how it's intended to be played. And I was wondering, like, did I just circumvent it and find a whole, like, secret other way you should be playing it? No. In fact, I did not. Well, we're doing this kind of, off the cuff. This is not scripted, so that combo doesn't quite work. But I think this is a good card. I mean, okay, when do we have creatures that are counter spells?
There's a couple.
There's a couple.
And mostly blue. I think there's a blue-black one. And they're usually not... There's only one I have in my Sisei deck that's a full counter spell. Most of them are bounce to hand or do something less than a full counter spell.
Yeah, like Venser
Yeah,
or Urte.
Yeah, the airbending's still less than a full counter spell, but it still is pretty good if you want to have a go wide beating deck and you just are saving 7 card slots for removal or answers because your commander has that on it, and that's decent value.
Yeah, I mean, the tough thing is that removal is usually not what you want your commander to be, especially because everyone can see it at all times.
Yeah,
It's not a surprise.
It's not what most people want their commander to be. It is not a horrible thing for a commander to be that. The problem with most of the my commander has removal on it decks is it becomes a zero sum and either feast or famine. Your deck does the thing and you shut everyone down, or they see it and they shut you down.
Yeah.
This isn't your commander sticks out there as a repeatable removal. It's flash. It's something you can do the removal once, and then they don't really want to remove the commander because that lets you do it as removal again. So it's a little bit more defensive and better than most of those. It's not as oppressive because you're not encouraged to remove people repeatedly, and the airbending still lets them replay that thing, whatever it was, again. So that's less salt-inducing.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think the best comparison is probably just Venser. This guy. That he's a soft counterspell for 4 mana and a body and flash.
Yep.
But Aang costs 1 less, is a little harder of a counterspell in that you have to pay 2 mana to well,
replay it
actually, that could be better or worse. Because with this, they have to pay the full cost. If it was like a 7 mana spell, they have to pay 7 mana to cast it again. If it was a 7 mana spell and you get it with Aang, they only have to cast it for 2.
Yeah.
So I think it's debatable whether Venser's better or worse in that regard, but it is 1 mana less. It gives you 2 colors as a commander, which is great. Both of them can get a creature, although Venser can get any permanent. This is a 2/3 flyer as opposed to a 2/2. And the biggest thing is, of course, in the late game, you can transform Aang into a legitimate finisher. 5/5 reach trample, and it's really kind of a 6/6 because when it attacks, it will be
7.
tapped.
Well, flipping, he won't have summoning sickness. So
Transforming, it will not have summoning sickness. There are some cards like the enchantments that turn into avatars that say that they exile and then return transformed, and those have summoning sickness because they leave and return. But most of these kind of cards do not, and so don't have summoning sickness. So you pay the 8 mana to transform it, you immediately attack, it becomes a 6/6 reach trampler.
Yeah.
And buffs whoever else you got going on.
Yeah, your go wide tokens won't be able to help you attack until the next turn, so they get +2/+2 effectively.
And you probably tapped a bunch of them to transforming.
Yeah, which is why they can't attack them.
Okay. And yet, I see a strategy here. I think that the fact that it's a removal spell in the command zone, but it's on par with some of the better ones that have existed.
Yeah.
It gives you more than 1 color, and it can turn into a finisher. I'm torn between high potential or, we haven't really discussed it yet, but better in the 99. I think this card's kind of excellent in the 99.
A 3 mana removal spell is potentially viable in a lot of things. If it was 4, I'd go probably not. There's a good number of 1 mana removal spells in white and blue, a lot of 2 mana removal spells. Paying 3 has to be a very good one and do other stuff with your deck. And airbending isn't the best removal spell.
Right.
So I wouldn't cut a Swords to Plowshares for Aang.
No. But I think if you're playing blue and white, you could probably cut Venser for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Some decks
you
better,
play
some
Venser
decks-
in a deck or two, like
Yeah, the
what
in
Sisei?
Yeah. Not cutting Venser for
No.
Aang.
Okay.
That in Sisei, I'm paying 5 mana for that answer, and I
Okay.
want that answer to stop that problem permanently,
Okay.
not have to spend another 5 mana the next turn to stop it again.
Okay. Well, then I think this is a tough one again because I think that it is very good in the 99, but I think I'm willing to put it into high potential anyway because it's kind of both.
Yeah.
So I think high potential, the way that we have it written here, it's kind of a better thing to be in high potential because this could be a decent commander. Let's move on though. Next we have the first card that only has one face. Yay! Aang, the Last Airbender, is 3 generic and a white for a legendary creature, human avatar ally. He's a 3/2 with flying. When he enters, airbend up to one other target non-land permanent, and whenever you cast a lesson spell, Aang gains lifelink until end of turn. Okay, I think we finally got one that is, honestly, it doesn't seem that complicated. Doesn't seem that deep. He's an uncommon, and I don't think he's a very good commander.
No, I mean, pretty much does the same type of things as the last Aang we looked at, but at 1 mana more. And worse, it's a answer that's at sorcery speed. And, I mean, if you really, really wanted to play the other Aang but didn't have blue, then maybe look at this. But otherwise, yeah, not a better commander, and not better in the 99. And
yeah, honestly, I want to put him all the way down in lame,
Yeah.
even though I could see him seeing play in an ally deck. I could see him in the 99 of certain decks that include some lessons. Although, even if you're casting lesson spells on the regular, gaining lifelink is nice, but not, that important.
yeah, if you happen to be in a ally lifelink deck that needs all of that,
Well, an ally lesson deck.
yeah, so it's or a lifelink lesson deck, and there's lots of hoops, and that's probably not a lot of decks. If that happens to be the niche deck you're playing, awesome. Otherwise, the other Aang does the same things, but better.
Honestly, this guy seems like kind of a pre-release star in the sense of I built a lesson deck out of the stuff that I opened from the pre-release, my packs that I got so far. Aang goes in the 99 for now, but 6 months from now he'll be replaced.
Yeah.
So, then we go on to the uncommon Appa Loyal Sky Bison, who's 4 generic and 2 white for legendary creature Bison Ally. He's a 4/4 with flying, and when Appa enters or attacks, choose one. Target creature you control gains flying until end of turn, or airbend another target non-land permanent you control. That you control thing.
That hurts it a lot.
Yeah.
It's not removal, then, and there's a lot more blinks repeatedly stuff.
Yeah.
If you need an 8th one of those, sure, take a look at this. 6 mana's a lot for that. And it's not even the best blink. You still have to repay it again. It doesn't come back instant speed, so it's not like you can blink something mid-combat.
No.
And
Well,
it's
it
not,
triggers when it attacks.
but you can't get the thing back until after combat.
Probably. I mean, it would have to have flash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Because
gonna count.
airbending does not get around timing restrictions. If your card gets airbent, you can only recast it for 2 generic whenever you could normally cast it.
Yeah.
So honestly, the only thing that I really have to look at here is that Appa costs 6, and its ability is not that impressive. It does do it when it enters or when it attacks, so I do like that it's repeatable, but giving flying to one creature is not that great once you get to 6 mana. And then airbending one of your own things is also not that great. Everything just feels a little under curve
Undertuned.
here.
And yeah, especially for that much mana.
Once again, I think that I could see it as a like pre-release in an ally deck, but I don't think that it's going to stay in the 99 even.
Nope.
So let's look at Appa Steadfast Guardian. Now I remember liking this one. 2 generic and 2 white for a legendary creature Bison ally. Now we've got a 4 mana 3/4 with flash and flying. When Appa enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 white ally creature token.
So it does a big thing, and a thing that can be powerful, and then your next turn you just suffer. Because, yeah, instant speed, saving a ton of stuff. It's the non-land permanent, so it's even your artifacts, enchantments, and that weird battle you have over there.
Yeah,
It's
that battle everyone was telling you to cut.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of cards that can protect your battle, but also you probably don't really need to protect the battle. So yeah, it powerful 4 mana to do all of that. There's some cheaper stuff that protects everything at instant speed already, but an extra one of those is nice. One reliably in the command zone is nice. The paying 2 for your wide board of stuff is gonna suck.
But when you do, you'll get ally tokens. So
yeah,
he seems kind of like, he's a worse Teferi's protection.
yeah.
I think that this is a pretty powerful effect, but once again, anything with flash is at its most powerful when your opponent doesn't see it coming, because that's when they walk into it. It is at its most powerful when they don't know you're going to do it. So having it in the command zone, I think, is not very good. Because as long as they're keeping their eyes open, at least.
There is, one advantage of protection in the command zone of they know you can do it, therefore they don't hurt you in the first place.
The old rattlesnake thing of well, why I need a board wipe, but even if I do, the Appa player's gonna be fine. Well, not fine. I'll have to recast my stuff, but
yeah, and the stuff will then have summoning sickness, so you can't immediately swing on them while they're open.
Also, if you do use Appa as the protection for a board wipe, Appa will get wiped.
Yeah.
And if you use it for anything else, then you get the allies.
Yeah, although you can't use Appa twice if he survives, so him going back to the command zone is not horrible.
True.
But yeah, there is a deck you can make with this. It's a little bit torn of you don't want it to be a go wide token deck.
Yeah.
But you want to be able to still make the tokens to go wide.
So he is an ally. He makes allies if you are casting things from exile, and you're casting things from exile mostly if you are airbending things. So it seems like this guy is as most powerful if you have an overlap of airbending and allies. Is he the proper commander for that? No. Is there a proper commander for that? I'm not sure.
There's a couple viable
maybe it's this
Allied
first guy,
commander decks?
the Aang at the Crossroads. You get 3 colors. He is an ally. He would like to be airbent. That's a possibility.
It could go in that deck for sure. There's I think some other allied tribal decks that are going to be better.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of allied tribal decks out there. In the end, I think this guy's better in the 99. I've already said that I think he's better as a surprise. And I don't think that he's a good reason to have airbending or allies as a theme in your deck, but I think that he is a good payoff potentially for one or the other. A tool similar to Teferi's Protection, but that synergizes with those themes.
Yep, pay some extra mana, don't get quite as much protection as Teferi's Protection, but yeah, if you're in those themes, then you get extra benefits.
Yeah. Pretty good ally piece. Next we have the Headliner. This was, I think, the very first card that we were shown from this set.
Didn't get the
It
back for a little
was-
while.
Yeah, it was this. Was spoiled, and we were like, what in the world? Red. Okay, Avatar Aang is red, green, white, blue for a legendary creature human avatar ally. For 4 mana, he's a 4/4 with flying and firebending 2. When we first saw this, we didn't know what that was. And whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, draw a card. Then if you've done all 4 this turn, transform Avatar Aang. So once again, when we first saw this card, we didn't know what any of those words were. And now, thankfully, of course, we know what all those words are, even though opening it in a pack will not tell you.
Yep.
So you do, but Magic assumes that by the time that you have a mythic rare, you have seen the ability on the commons and the uncommons, or you have used the internet and you know what these things are. So, do you want to talk about what these things are, or where? There's honestly, there's also the whole backside. I think that we need to discuss it kind of like half and half because there's so much to say.
Yeah, if you're building a bending tribal deck, there are enough bending cards out there to do that. There's not a ton of synergy between the different types of bending, so it would be hard to get them to all do a cohesive thing and get all 4. You're going to have to do a little bit of searching to be able to do all 4 on the same turn, and definitely a lot of setup ahead of time. You'll probably have an airbending card that you play earlier and then actually activate the airbending on a later turn. The waterbend and earthbending you can probably sneak in at the same time and then have Aang firebend.
Yeah, of course he's got that built in, so that's nice.
Yeah, that being built in means there are probably going to be very few transform Aang with a lot of firebending spells in the deck. And even if you did, the firebending is always going to be during combat, so your opponents know when you're trying to do the scary thing. And so they know when to hold up the protection and when to do the removal spell to stop you doing the scary thing.
Oh, yeah.
And can have you spend all the cards and mana first.
Yeah, they're like, okay, I've waterbent. Okay, I've earthbent. Oh man, I've airbent. Now I go to combat, and they're like, now I swords Aang.
Yep.
Like, dang it!
And that is going to make you sad a pretty predictable amount of times. And even to get to there, you're going to have to play a lot of, well, this isn't... It's waterbending, and I didn't really need the effect that the waterbending got me, but I spent 4 or 5 mana to do it, maybe 8 mana, and you're not going to get a great payoff for that.
Yeah, like, I don't think that there's any one card that both airbends and firebends, that both waterbends and earthbends. Because canonically, Aang is the only character alive in the world who can do more than one kind of bending.
I mean, one of the previous Aangs did a water bending and air bending, so you can occasionally.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
But
Aang
yeah,
is the
that's
only
the-
character. So there's like one other card that can do 2 of them.
Yeah, but that's 8 mana.
Yeah.
Or have a ton of go wide stuff,
Yeah.
and that's point being going to be a pretty painful hoop to jump through, much less all 4 times.
It is a challenge. Let's talk about the reward though for that challenge. So this is like the holy grail of this set. If you can pull this off, I think that you can you've lived your childhood dream as an Avatar: The Last Airbender fan. You can put the deck away, put it on a shelf as a trophy or something that you did it. Because Aang, Master of Elements, is a 6/6 flyer. He's colorless now. He's beyond colors. He's an Avatar ally. He's not human anymore. Because when he goes into the Avatar state, he kind of loses his humanity temporarily. It actually does make sense. He's got flying. Spells you cast cost white, blue, black, red, green less to cast. And I thought that it was part of the rules that meant that it only reduced the colored mana costs. But it turns out every previous card that reduced the colored mana costs said, as rules text, that this only reduces the color mana costs. This one can reduce the generic mana costs, which means that any spell that costs like blue and 2 colorless is covered. If it costs black, red, green, and 2 colorless, it's covered. Anything that's 5 mana or less, as long as it doesn't have a double color pip, is free. We're practically in omniscience mode here.
Yep.
Oh, and there's one other thing. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may transform Aang, Master of Elements. If you do, you gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4 +1/+1 counters on him, and he deals 4 damage to each opponent. No big deal.
It, is actually a not all that big of a deal, because you can't really loop that easily to do 4 damage repeatedly and kill everyone. Drawing 4 cards is nice.
The play pattern here seems to be, if you manage to transform him, then all the rest of the cards in your hand are free for the turn. You hit somebody pretty hard, and then at the end of your turn, you do flip him back, where you gain your life, you draw your cards, you get your counters, you deal your 4 damage, and then you set up to do it again, because you cast every spell that was in your hand. You need a new hand, so there's 4 cards, and then you set up to do it again the next turn.
I don't think you'll be able to.
Nope, probably not.
Do it the next turn.
Probably not.
So I would keep him flipped. And
keep him flipped?
Leave him there, because the spells cost that much less. Still works on other people's turns. You can free counter spell people.
True.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Honestly, though, I kind of want to scoop to anyone who has transformed Aang.
There is like,
If you've built the deck right, then in theory, once you flipped him, then you should be able to play your entire library, potentially. Just play cards that draw cards and then cast those for free and just win. Right?
Yeah, you'll have the problem of even if you have something that says play a card, draw a card, you'll get a whole bunch of cards to your hand that are the bending cards, and they will do something that's not super helpful.
Right.
And so
thinking something
you're
like this,
you're going to have a lot of not gas once you're trying to storm off.
Right. All the pieces that you use to get here are going to probably be in the way of you paying it off to just straight up win.
Yeah.
So that is going to make this really awkward, that you can make a deck that is pretty good at flipping Aang, but then you're probably not that good at paying him off. Or if you build a deck that's good at paying him off, you're going to really struggle to flip him.
The best is probably find a way to draw your whole library and then have 1 or 2 cards that actually kill people. I'm not sure, other than just 2 combo pieces, what you would do with a Wooburg discount to turn that into damage. But
there are a lot of things. From your classic gutter snipe would be a pretty easy one, I would think. Every instant and sorcery turns into 2 damage, so you cast a dozen instants or sorceries and you've killed everybody.
20. Assuming no
sure.
one else has done stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, but a couple of the bendings are instants and sorceries. Most are creatures. So you're going to have a ton of other instants and sorceries in there.
Yeah.
It's easy to have this, to make a deck that is trying to do this and have it be clunky and not work great.
Oh, yeah.
But have the potential, and it'd be super scary, and people will still kill Aang on sight and or kill him as he's trying to flip. And so you're going to have a lot of games that don't go how you want them to go, even if it's whether it's getting more aggro than you can handle, or you flip him and draw a bunch of bendings and then your deck fizzles. And so there's a lot of ways this
can go wrong. And also, I feel like it's really important to mention, when we first saw this card, we saw 4 colors, and when we saw the back, it's colorless. However, important to remember, for the rules of deck construction in Commander, it has a black mana symbol. Even though it's on the back, it's not in reminder text, and so this does add black to its color identity. If you have this as your commander, then you are playing a 5-color deck. Your deck can and maybe should, include black, and you can only play this in 5-color decks.
Yep. Yeah, definitely not a lot of decks you could play this in.
It's not better in the 99.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
No.
you would have to have a Wooburg commander that needs a bunch of card draw and is doing a whole bunch of betting stuff.
Okay. So I've been saving 2 secrets, though, while we've been talking about this the whole time. First secret is that I think Avatar Aang is actually a really good commander if you just throw in a bunch of the best cards that just say any of these abilities, because every time that you Waterbend, Earthbend, Firebend, or Airbend, you draw a card. Which means every time that he attacks, you draw a card and you make 2 mana. And I think that you could build a deck that is just, this is 4 or 5 colors, I play my guy, he attacks, I get some mana, I draw cards, and it's just a value engine of drawing cards off of all the things that you do, because all of your spells are going to have one kind of bending or another, so they all turn into cantrips.
Yeah, no, the I guess the secret to making a satisfying Aang deck, which I'm also building one and excited for it.
Oh, okay.
Is don't shoot for the thing the card is trying to tempt you into. And
Yeah, doing all 4 in the same turn, that's actually a trap.
yeah, it's the building a deck that can do that is going to make a lot of compromises and be very hard to potentially do. And the couple people that pull it off in your city will mean that when you don't pull it off, your deck is going to be treated like it could, and you will suffer.
So honestly, that sounds like a pretty fun deck to just be playing 4 or 5 color, bend and draw a card a couple of times a turn.
Yeah,
you
I'd
can
go
throw in all kinds of things. You've got a lot of options.
Yeah, go for a deck that wants to be doing a bunch of a specific type of bending, and a specific type of other thing. Throw in all the bending cards that work with that secondary plan, and just treat it as a draw engine.
Yeah, and keep in mind that you're getting 2 extra red every combat from this.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a commander that is on rate in terms of a 4-mana 4/4 flying with upside that makes you mana and draws you cards.
That is...
Forget the rest of it. It has a bunch of the qualities you already want in a commander and all the colors you could want.
Yep, and that is awesome, and can make a bunch of very powerful decks, and can make different powerful decks. I myself am going with a very not on theme for Aang, firebending aggressive deck.
Oh yeah, Aang joins the Fire Nation.
Yep.
Well, I need to reveal my final secret here. The card Moonmist exists. This card is the secret silver bullet in an Avatar Aang deck, because for 2 mana instant speed, you transform all humans. And Aang is a human, and that works. You transform him, you get around all the other junk, and you just get the full avatar. The other text on it, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures other than werewolves and wolves. At the point that you just, surprise have the full avatar state, you don't really care about that anymore.
It does mean that your 0-turn win clock can't involve a bunch of hasty combat damage. Because it stops your own combat damage, unless they're werewolves.
If you did some kind of combo that involved making infinite 1/1s with haste or something, unless they were werewolves or wolves, this would prevent the damage.
Yeah.
But also, of course, you can transform him at the end of your last opponent's turn, and then go ham. So personally, I think that the way to build this deck probably would be what we were talking about, just playing all the best bending cards that you can, and then throw Moonmist in the 99, and that's probably the strongest and most reliable deck that you can. However, if people know... I think that you got to ask somebody, when you sit down to play against Avatar Aang, you got to ask them, are you playing Moonmist?
Yep.
Because that's going to change the whole game. And it's just one card in the 99, so if you have it in your hand, it's nuts. And if you don't have it in your hand, people need to act as though you do.
Yeah, that I think is a trap. Because after, I mean, this is going to be a super popular commander.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah, as popular as it can be given that it's a mythic rare,
Yeah.
people will want to play it.
yeah, and I mean, you can buy singles if you want it, you can get it. The and Moon Mist exists. Once people know that and have seen it or heard about it, the internet exists. People will hear about it. Then that means Aang now needs to be killed on sight, and it's one card in your 99. You won't have it most of the time, unless you've built a whole package to get Moon Mist into your hand reliably. Then that's 1 in 10 games or something small. You get it, and you're powerful. And every other game, people are treating you like you're powerful, and you're not. And that's an unfun play pattern, for at least for me. So yeah, I'd very much, I wouldn't put it in my deck. I'm not going to put it in my deck. And I will tell people I don't have this in my deck, and people will hopefully not punish me for a thing that I can't do. Some people still might, and that would suck. But if you have it in your deck, I will then be killing your commander whether you have drawn it or not. And most of the time you won't have drawn it, and that's going to suck for you. Sorry.
Yeah. By the way, I've got a feeling that something happened in May of this year where this card was spoiled. And that I just wanted to see. This is NPG Goldfish tracking the price on Moon Mist. It was under 50 cents, it looks like, until this card was spoiled, and then it went up to about $5, and then is settling in around 3-ish. And that feels about right.
Yep.
Okay, I think this is hopefully the card that we had the most to say about. And I think that he goes in exciting. He's definitely not better than 99. He clearly has high potential. There are a lot of like pitfalls that you can fall into, but overall, a very exciting card.
Yep.
Yeah. So, alphabetically, after Avatar Aang, we have Azula, Cunning Usurper. She's 2 generic, a blue, and 2 black for a 4/4. So that's 5 mana for a 4/4. Legendary creature, Human Noble Rogue. That is interesting to me from a like kind of lore standpoint. She's always a human noble because she's human and she's the daughter of the Fire Lord. But in this instance, I think only they have her as a rogue as well, because I think this is when she goes off and comes up with her own mission that is not authorized by her dad.
Well, this is she just took over Ba Sing Se.
Exactly. So
And
that's when she has gone rogue. As opposed to...
Or she took it over in
this
a roguish
version of
manner.
her, she's doing exactly what her dad has told her to do, for instance. This version, is... she's still, like, fighting over the Fire Lord thing. But this version, yeah, she is kind of going rogue. But
I think it more as a manipulative, still very much pleasing her father.
Yeah,
but she took over Ba Sing Se in a roguish manner, not against her father's wishes manner.
Yeah, in fact, wasn't this right after the drill failed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, she's a 4/4 with Firebending 2. So when she attacks, you add 2 red, and this mana lasts until end of combat. I don't think that we actually said what Firebending was explicitly until just now. Important that the mana is created when you attack, and it lasts until the end of combat while you are still technically attacking, but once you go to your second main, it's gone. When Azula enters, target opponent exiles a non-token creature they control, then they exile a non-land card from their graveyard. Importantly, that opponent gets to choose which of those things they do, but you probably get 2 of their cards.
Yeah, 2 of their cards, but the worst 2.
Yeah. And during your turn, you may cast cards exiled with Azula, and you may cast them as though they had flash. Mana of any type can be spent to cast those. Which is very important because that does mean that it synergizes with her Firebending, because you exile those 2 spells, you attack with her, you get 2 red, and because you can use mana of any color, the red applies, and because they can be cast as though they had flash, you can do a big combat. So... the pieces do add up, but
not to something great.
No.
You're casting the least valuable thing that your opponent has played.
Yeah.
And unless you're casting your commander super late, or a second time because they've killed it, but again, why are they really killing this one when it has an ETB thing?
A 5-mana 4/4 that has kind of limited effect. This is not going to kill you, and so it's usually not worth killing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the things that they're going to get from you are like, a medium-sized creature probably, and like a decent spell from your graveyard. Maybe they'll get your swords. Maybe they'll get your, value creature or something, but...
Yeah, so you can choose an opponent that only has one card in their graveyard.
Or only one non-token creature. You could get something good. However, it's in the command zone, and so they can see it. They'll be like, okay, I know that if at any time I leave one solitary good creature on the battlefield, then you can get it. I think that what could make this fun, though, is a deck that does manipulate the graveyard and manipulate the battlefield with removal spells and exile and stuff, so that you can engineer a really good Azula trigger.
Yeah, although manipulating the battlefield by killing a creature puts that creature into the graveyard. That makes it harder for you to manipulate that graveyard.
Maybe, potentially, yeah.
A little bit harder, and the payoff has a really low floor.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible that you could get next to no value out of it. And the spells that you get aren't free. They can cost like 2 mana less, but even if you steal like a Cultivate, casting it for 1 is nice, but it's
not
like
game-changing.
Yeah. It's unlikely you're going to be stealing like extra turn spells or like Expropriate or something.
Yeah.
Also, very importantly, Firebending 2 is the rules text. The reminder text is where the red mana symbols are, which means that this is not a red card. You can play it in a non-red deck. If she's your commander, you have a Dimir deck, a blue-black commander deck. And if this included the color red, that would give you a lot more
a lot better
options. As it stands, though, or if she triggered when she attacked or something, there's a lot of small tweaks to this card that I think could make it worth it. As it stands, I mean, I kind of want to put it in questionable.
Yeah.
That's where I think it belongs. I don't think that she's lame, but her potential is very much limited.
Yeah, I might even knock her down to lame, because, I mean, you were saying removal on the commander is not great, and that's most of what she does.
Well, she's kind of steal spells. Stealing is a little better than just removal, but
still very much foreshadowed.
And I think a blue-black control deck that does have lots of like go for the throats and ways of like exiling a couple of cards from graveyards, that could potentially be kind of fun for yourself for a little while. But I don't think it's going to be A, that effective, and B, that fun for very many people for very long.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put it in questionable. It's possible someone could, surprise me a little bit, but... Yeah. And I don't think that she's straight up lame. I think that she does have like enough tools to be all kind of worth it, but not... Yeah. I don't know. Those are my thoughts anyway, but the next one on our list is Azula on the Hunt, who is 3 generic and a black, so 4 mana for a 4/3 legendary creature, human noble. She's got Firebending 2 still, and whenever Azula attacks, you lose 1 life and create a clue token. This is an uncommon.
So, yeah, the clues are not something I've ever been super interested in or felt is super powerful.
I mean, they're not.
But at least you can use her 2 mana to crack the clue. Otherwise, you have to put a whole bunch of stuff in the deck that can use that combat mana, which isn't great.
Especially because this is a mono black commander.
Yeah.
If she was somehow also red, like, she's, once again, it seems like a little, like, close to having good potential, but as it stands, honestly, I kind of want to shortcut this a little bit here, just put her in lame.
Yeah.
Because honestly, a clue token isn't that great on its own. If you're playing mono black, you're not going to have that many ways to abuse it. She's 4 mana before she gets started with her thing. I don't care about the order of these right now, but I think she belongs down here.
Yeah.
Too bad that there's also like no representation for this lizard creature, which was pretty cool. Would like to have that, but I don't know. Like having haste on her well made I think a pretty big difference actually, because then she'd get her trigger and the firebending immediately, and but then it'd feel like a red card again, and it's not a red card. All right, we're on to Boomy, King of the Three Trials. So this is a big boy at 5 generic and a green legendary creature, human noble ally. He's a 4/4. When Boomy enters, choose up to X, where X is the number of lesson cards in your graveyard. So you gotta have lesson cards for him to do anything.
Yeah.
Put 3+1/+1 counters on Boomy. Target player scries 3. I don't think I've ever seen them spell out the word scries 3 like that. And Earthbend 3, which we've described, and it says right there, so you can read it yourself. What do you think of this guy?
It started off great, where, choose up to X. I love that.
Okay, yeah.
And then, X is reliant on me doing a whole bunch of lessons, which are better than they used to be, but still not super great.
Oh, yeah.
And
most of the instants and sorceries in this set seem to be lessons. More than half. And
so even if you have 20 lessons in your deck, you've maybe done 2 by the time you can play him. And that either makes him a okay
7/7.
Voltron if you do a whole bunch of other stuff, or you can get some extra non-Voltron chip damage in with Earthbending. It's not a great Earthbending deck. Or you could Scry, which doesn't even draw you the card then.
Honestly, there are so many things that hold this guy back.
Yeah.
First off, while you could say, he fails the vanilla test and he's a 6 mana 4/4, of course, no, he could be a 7/7 for 6. Yeah, but then he has no other text on him.
And you had to spend another card to get there.
You know what? Actually, here's what I'm missing. That's only if you have 1 lesson. Okay, so it does start to become better if you have a bunch of lessons in your graveyard. Then when he enters, you do these things a bunch of times. Okay.
Can you choose the same one multiple times?
You know what? It doesn't say that you can, so maybe you can't. Like, there are cards like, what am I thinking of here? It's not the flares. Is it decrees? There's some cards that have multiple modes, and then...
And they say you can choose each mode more than once.
Yes. Is that reminder text or rules text?
Not sure.
Can he literally, if X is greater than 3, does it not matter?
I think not. I'm going to assume not. Does he have rulings on him yet?
Good question. Rulings, nope. I haven't seen any rulings on any avatar cards yet, even though some of them need them.
Yeah, so I'm...
choose... how would you even word it? I don't know. Choose up to... I don't know. Something like that. Will it give me anything useful here? I'm looking for a modal spell that you can use multiple times. Okay. Pay this cost for each mode chosen beyond the first. Choose 1 or more. Okay, so on that one you can clearly only choose, up to 3, because that's how many abilities it has. I think you probably are limited to 3, though I can't say for certain. I just can't think of the name of any of the spells. They even have a word that they use to combine them all. Like, it's not...
Modal?
That... in their name. It's not finale, it's not ultimatum. It's command, I think. Well, no, commands are usually choose to. I don't know. Okay. Well, so best case scenario, you've got 3 lessons in your graveyard. When this guy enters, You do all 3 of the abilities. He's a 7/7. You scry 3. You earthbend 3. Was it worth it? I still don't think so.
No.
Is this guy worth playing in the 99 of a lesson deck? I think he's only worth considering in the 99 of a lesson deck, and even then, he might not make the cut because what is the lesson deck trying to do? Get a 7/7 vanilla creature? Is it trying to earthbend a land one time? Is it trying to scry 3, which is just like, gravy? I think this guy's lame.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of already talked too much about him. I think he's lame. And it's too bad. Once again, a number of tweaks here. Honestly, if that said enters or attacks, then he'd be pretty great. If he costs 1 mana less, he might even be worth doing. I don't know. But if wishes were fishes.
Yeah. I mean, even if the rules is different than we think, and you have 20 lessons in your graveyard, because I don't know how, and then you get to choose the same one and give him +3 20 times, then...
And then pass the turn.
And yeah, that's still not great.
So, now we are on to the other Boomy in this set, Boomy Unleashed, who is 3 generic, a red and a green for a legendary creature human noble ally. He's a 5/4 for 5 with trample. When he enters Earthbend 4, and when Boomy deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, and only land creatures can attack during that combat phase. Now, I actually watched the latest episode of Game Nights, where Boomy is one of the 4 decks that they played, and I gotta say, it was fun to watch. Although Boomy being kind of the star of it, he didn't necessarily take the show as a commander. Because as a commander, he earthbends 4, which is good. You effectively have, 9 power for 5 mana across 2 bodies. And getting an extra combat would be great, except, of course, you can only include your lands in that combat.
Yeah, so 13 damage.
But
or twice.
I think that what I saw in that game is kind of what we suspected up until now, which is that earthbending can be a really powerful mechanic if you are doing it a lot, and if you have lands that can sacrifice themselves and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it was necessarily on the back of Boomy alone that deck did well, but I think that the fact that he's a 2-color earthbending commander gave him some potential for all the stuff in the 99.
Yeah, if you're doing a attack with lands deck, there's a couple commanders that can do that. He's one of the better ones. I really would have preferred him to have a 3rd color.
Yeah.
But it still can be decent.
You know what? Actually, I think he might legitimately be the best commander in the situation that what you want to do is actually attack with the lands.
Yeah.
That is not the strongest thing that you can do with earthbending. The strongest thing you can do with earthbending is have the lands die and come back repeatedly.
Yeah, there's combo shenanigans you can do, and he doesn't do that as well. But yeah, if you want to do a fair earthbending
land beat-up deck,
then he does that pretty well.
Yeah. In fact, for that reason alone, honestly, I want to put him in high potential. I want to put him about... Honestly, I think that these two are kind of a low bar for high potential. I think that he's genuinely got high potential because I can a lot easier imagine what that deck is than these two. However, he has to deal combat damage to a player in order to get you the extra combat. Only your lands are in the combat. So it's not like he fits into a solid existing archetype. Lands attacking for the win is not really what any of the lands matters decks are doing.
There's a couple commanders that do that already, and different colors, so you can do that same thing, but in a new way. Him having trample means he will probably do the damage.
Yeah,
you're gonna
probably
need some cards in the deck to have him survive that damage.
Actually, you know what? Okay, I'll tell you what is the nuttiest thing that I saw him do. Actually, I don't remember if he actually did it or if I just thought that it would be the wildest thing that you could do, is Ashaya Soul of the Wild, which makes your non-token creatures into forest lands.
Yep.
And so suddenly Ashaya and Boomy and any other creatures you control are lands, which means that you can attack with all of them on your additional combats, and they all tap for mana, and you can earthbend onto your creatures. In fact, people do forget that if you earthbend a land, you put 4 counters on it. You can earthbend a land that's already earthbent if you just want it larger.
Yeah.
That's not usually the optimal play, but it's an option.
And if you play Ashaya first, then Boomy, he can earthbend himself. And then, as long as he has haste, you just get infinite combats.
Wait, infinite combats? Okay, when he deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control after this phase in additional combat phase.
If he's a land.
It doesn't have anything saying if this is your first combat or trigger this ability only once. So this is one of the only ways I know of making him a land. There might be others, although most of those would make him not a creature.
Yeah.
But Ashaya in the 99 makes him go nuts.
Yep. Which...
That's fun! Well, you know what? I think that he's in the right spot, and I think that we've kind of covered some of the most fun things we can do with him. I don't think that he's the best Earthbender overall, because of some of the things we said earlier. Having another color would probably be more valuable than any of the other text on here. But
the combo shenanigans has a higher ceiling than him, but the potential for infinite combat steps is
wild.
Yep.
Let's go on to Combustion Man, who is one of the characters from the show I was most excited to see. I wasn't sure if we'd get him because, you have to go kind of deep. He's a character that I think was only in 1 episode. A lot of his backstory is mysterious, and he does a kind of bending that we don't see anyone else do, in that he has a third eye, and he shoots lasers from his third eye, and those lasers explode. So, the magic card is 3 and 2 red for a legendary creature human assassin. Yes, he is an assassin in this world, in this children's cartoon. He is a 4/6 for 5, and whenever Combustion Man attacks, destroy target permanent unless its controller has Combustion Man deal damage to them equal to his power. I want to hear your take first, actually. If you have one.
So, whenever you give your opponent choice, they're going to choose the thing that is worst for you / best for them. And that is sad. And that effectively means he has double strike, I guess, because they probably care more about their permanence than taking 4 damage. If you can make him huge, then you get to destroy something. But that's kind of, you build a ton in one direction and then get the benefit in the other, so you can never raise the ceiling super high.
Yeah, if you make him
if he's a
15 power or something, it feels like kind of a waste if you can strip mine somebody and it's woo, got him. Anyway, hit for 20. And vice versa,
that's even the difference between, okay, I've made him a 7 or 10, and now they're going to start letting me destroy something, and then, I have more of those cards, now he's at 30, and I still get to do the same, destroy one thing.
Plus, what are you destroying? Usually when you're using removal, it should be on the most dangerous thing on the board, and by the time that this guy's a 10/10 or something, he's the most dangerous thing on the board. You're just running his body into the person who controls, I don't know, the Gaia's cradle or something. Yeah. You're smashing the heck out of them. And so the 2 abilities don't synergize super well, the 2 abilities. The 2 stats that you want to optimize for, his power and his destroy target permanent effect, are kind of at odds with each other.
You can swing against person A and destroy person B's thing.
Yes.
Which is better. That at least spreads out the anger you create.
Also, he has just a really interesting ability, but lacks a lot of the other bits from haste, menace, trample, things like that
The
he would really want to be
protection, so you
truly
can
effective.
survive a
Ward,
combat. Yeah.
stuff like that. And being an uncommon commander, it makes sense that they just like put one interesting thing on him and then left it alone, being a little bit undercooked. But you know what? I think that those can be fun deck building challenges. You are playing mono red, which is also going to severely limit your options for what kind of fancy pants stuff you can do with him. And yet, I imagine actually a mono red Voltron deck where you just pick up equipment and you beat one person up while blowing up somebody else's stuff, and he kind of becomes a monster.
It, yeah, I guess is effectively some card draw and mana, and you don't have to run removal in that deck. Just run a bunch of Voltron stuff. That still definitely not going to be anywhere near S tier Voltron. There's a lot better for that already.
Yeah.
But yeah, so while I'm not, if someone sits down across the table and has this as the commander, I'm not afraid of them winning. I am afraid of them destroying my stuff, which incentivizes me to remove their stuff, particularly the commander. But even then, if they're swinging at me or someone else to destroy my Gaia's Cradle, then I say, okay, great. I take 20 non-combat or non-combat commander damage. So you're not Voltron killing me with that. And yeah, I untap with my Gaia's Cradle and win the game. Good job.
Yeah. I mean, I am imagining things like, let's give this guy lifelink. Strangely enough, even though red kind of has no business having lifelink, there are some good lifelink equipment. I don't know if Loxodon Warhammer counts as good, but like Shadow Spear, I would definitely count. So even if you put just Shadow Spear on him for 1 to cast and 2 to equip, gives him +1/+1 trample and lifelink. Now he's a 6/7 with trample. You want that pseudo evasion, and having 5 power means that they have to take 5 damage or have their permanent blown up. And if they choose the damage, you gain the 5 life, and then he hits and you gain 5 life again in a mono red deck. I think that's big. And if you do go for, even bigger numbers, Loxodon Warhammer, then he's adding 3 more power, so now they have to take 7 or lose it. Do I think that this deck is good? No. Do I think that it could be fun? Yeah. I want to brainstorm this a little bit more. I want to do some goldfish, and then probably end up deciding that costing 5 mana to get out and then put stuff on him is too much, and that people are going to be very afraid of him. So in the end, as much as I actually like this kind of gameplay potentially, I'm going to put him in questionable.
Yeah, you might be able to make a viable bracket 2 or 3 deck with him.
Yeah.
But
Maybe.
we'll still, have some distinct flaws.
Now then, we get to Firelord Azula, which is exciting, and we're moving on. So Firelord... Okay. Wanted to see how long I could drag that out for, but Firelord Azula is my personal pick for the most exciting commander in this set. I've just already set my mind to it. She's a colorless and a blue, a black, and a red, so Grixis colors, for a legendary creature, Human Noble. She's a 4/4 with Firebending 2, and whenever you cast a spell while Firelord Azula is attacking, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy.
So yeah, it says whenever. That's always a powerful thing. It is a slightly capped whenever, but you can still loop that. You can get Infinite Storm if you cast a copy spell, which copies itself, etc. You can't still need a payoff for Infinite Storm, but even if you're not going infinite, it's still pseudo card draw once a turn, and some pseudo mana. Those are powerful things. 3 colors is nice.
I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do with her, like Frantic Search. So in the middle of combat, you make the 2 red, you add a blue to it, and now you draw 2 cards, discard 2, untap 3 lands, and then you do it again. So you end up untapping 3 lands twice. That can be part of a sequence of powerful plays that you can make.
It has, has a high floor, and works with a lot of generic good stuff to make the generic good stuff twice as good.
Yep. Stuff like Demand Answers, you discard 1 card or sacrifice 1 artifact. You end up drawing 4 cards out of it. She casts that for free. You want 2 lightning bolts? Easy. 2 lightning bolts. Easy.
I'm unsure if it's a kill on sight commander because it can do the Infinite Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is, then you don't get to have your low power bracket 3 doubled good stuff deck because I just keep killing you.
There's also like 3 or 4 different cards that you could play. There's actually like 6 that allow you to cast spells as though they had flash, but there's I think 3 of them that themselves have flash. And so you can cast them mid-combat using her firebending mana and get 2 of them to then enable your signets and your soul rings and everything else in your deck. Every random element now is doubled. Double soul ring, double arcane signet. You know?
Yeah,
double
definitely
Jester's Will.
Be very careful building this kind of deck, where it could very easily have a lot of variance. And sometimes it is a super high ceiling bracket for scary kill on sight commander, and then 2/3 of the time it's not. And that's going to have a hard time finding pods that fits in well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would either make sure that it is all the time super powerful and it can handle the equally powerful decks, or it's all the time not super powerful and doesn't need to be removed on site.
Yeah, I mean, if you can pull out something like this at instant speed, what does that do for you? Like, first off, you're casting Bulk Up for free off of the Firebending. You're getting 2 copies of it. You're doubling her power from 4 to 8, and then from 8 to 16. So with just Bulk Up, you are now swinging for 16, and you do that potentially after your opponent has chosen not to block. Does that mean that they can ever choose not to block? It gets pretty scary.
Yeah.
They're halfway dead from a couple of random individual spells. Not to mention, if you can also pay the flashback, then they are dead.
Yeah, so that means they need to either always be blocking and killing the commander or just straight killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that... So yeah, it's the biggest thing I can see is a lot of people making a deck that is sometimes deserves to be killed on sight and other times doesn't.
True.
And then they're either pub stomping or they're having a very bad day when their commander's killed 5 times.
Yeah, and she doesn't solve every problem for you.
No.
She doesn't have any built-in like hexproof or ward or protection. She doesn't have any built-in evasion or even first strike. Anything that would make it safer for her to attack consistently. Nope. She's a 4/4 for 4, which is a good start. That's one of the reasons why I'm still excited. But she could benefit from things like haste. She could benefit from, having a few equipment or just,
give her flying.
Combat tricks, actually.
Yep.
One of the weird ones that I was looking at was, what is it? Ilvoy? Is that what they're called? Oh, shoot. Oh, 2 L's? I was looking at weird stuff like this. So this is equipment with flash, so you can cast it mid-combat, and when you do, you attach it to target creature you control. You give that creature hexproof and +1/+2, so in mid-combat you can spend 1 of that red and add a blue to it, and now you've given your commander hexproof and +2/+4 for very low cost in the middle of combat. The hexproof will save her 1 time, and the +2/+4 will benefit her forever. That's a weird little trick that you could do. Or Eel Umbra, as another example. There's a black card that does something similar. So any of the like flash equipment that attach for free are kind of good actually.
Yeah, the red ones that have double strike,
Oh yeah.
fun,
Although
and
double strike isn't that important because it's not
payoff,
like
but yeah, not
it's
necessarily
not.
one that's benefiting you a ton.
It triggers when well the firebending triggers when she attacks, so double strike doesn't help with that, and you double a spell while she's attacking. So heck, you can even do that at the end of combat after she's dealt combat damage. You can like I don't know untap her or get an extra combat phase, although doubling that usually doesn't work how you'd like. So there's a lot of potential here, and yet she's not entirely solved on her own, and that is very interesting to me. But you are right that she could be more dangerous than she is useful, because she looks very dangerous.
Yeah, it has the super super high ceiling, which yeah can tempt you into making a deck that ruins your own night.
And I think I'm aiming for bracket 3, and there are infinite combos that she can be a part of that involve like making copies of copies and things. And I think that that's actually tricky to do reliably, so I'm actually going to try to stay away from that
Yeah.
and just do things that are good to copy and not necessarily go infinite. And that to me
It's-
says bracket 3, but should still be strong.
Yeah, it's hard to not include the couple of super powerful broken cards that are just work awesome on their own.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if you include those in the deck, then the deck needs to be treated differently. And
Yep. So, that said, let's move on to Firelord Zuko, who was also featured in the latest game nights. He is a red, a white, and a black for a 2/4 human noble ally, with Firebending X, where X is Firelord Zuko's power. That's interesting, so he starts off at 2 and he can get more. And whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
so he can snowball on himself with a ham sandwich.
God. I'm sorry, I just noticed that if you get one of these like neon ink things, holy jeez.
Yep, I think the professor got one.
You're
It away
kidding.
opened it in
Oh,
a pack,
I didn't
like,
watch
on
his,
stream, giving it away to charity.
Woo!
Could
Good
see
man.
the
Good
wheels
man.
turning in his head, going oh great, I'm doing this on screen. I can't keep it. Yep, I will have to give it away to charity. Awesome.
Yeah, no,
But great for him.
Yeah, he
And great
does
for
that
charity.
kind of stuff.
And yeah.
But in any case, just the normal printing of this card has a lot of scalable effects.
Yep, it had very very high ceiling. Can be very powerful. It still will take a little while to get there, so it's not a 0 turn clock. You must kill him instantly.
Yeah.
He has to get out there. He has to get rid of the summoning sickness. You have to play a couple spells. You could make a pretty fun combat tricky deck with that, where
Yeah.
it's just playing a bunch of combat tricks that buff everything a little bit, and then from the commander, and then the combat tricks themselves also make things better.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. You could go to combat, cast bulk up on him to double his power, and then you firebend for 4. Of course, every time that you cast a spell from exile, you'll add a counter to him and all of your other creatures, so he'll get permanently bigger, which makes him firebend for more, so that ability kind of loops onto itself.
Yeah, you probably
Eventually.
want a lot of the red exile draw, where it's you don't
Yes.
actually draw it. It's just you can exile it, cast it from exile for the next turn or 2, and so that will limit your deck a little bit in having to jump through that hoop, but lots of ways that make that not horrible.
People often call that impulse draw, where
Yeah.
you can exile some cards and then play them. Firelord Zuko, honestly, I think is one of the better payoffs for it. I don't think he's the best. The best still might be that guy from D&D, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Red-Black, Tiefling, I forget his name. He makes treasures. So Zuko wants you to cast spells from exile, but he doesn't exile spells himself. You know who does? Aang. The Last Airbender. Strangely enough, he actually synergizes with airbending quite well.
Yeah.
And I say strangely, there's Aang in the background. This is the end of his storyline where he is an ally. So, yeah.
The firebending doesn't work great with the airbending. I.e., you can't, if you airbend a bunch of permanents and creatures that you can't cast at instant speed, you can't use the firebending mana to cast them.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I see it, there are enough kind of rails on this machine that he's not going to go crazy. He's not going to go infinite. But I think that this is going to be a pretty solid commander. You mentioned that he doesn't have haste or built-in defense or anything. And he doesn't, but I think that when you play him as a 3-mana 2/4, he's not worth removing. He's probably going to stick around for a couple of turns, unless you have something absolutely nutty already exiled waiting for him. So,
and even then, that's not the biggest thing, and a lot of the stuff you exile, other people don't get to see always, so they won't know.
The exile zone is face up by default, but there are a lot of cards that do exile things face down. So keep an eye on that. Yeah, your face down exile cards might be more powerful, but honestly, I want to put Firelord Zuko in about here. I think that he's got high potential, but maybe not somewhere around here, you know?
Yeah. It is, I mean, once you get him fairly big, you're going to have to defend him, because if he does get removed, you have to start over.
I don't think that he's that high. I think that he does fit into a kind of sweet spot where he gets you enough value from making mana and putting counters and allowing you to, like, you know, encouraging you to play lots of things from exile stuff that it's worth playing, but also not so powerful that it's going to be like, dang, I really got to get rid of Zuko or he's going to wreck me, because you're also probably going wide as your kind of win condition because you put +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I imagine that a lot of the spells that you're casting are going to be like, make 3 creature tokens or something. Like Hordling Outburst or something.
I guess the problem is when someone else plays a board wipe to deal with the archenemy who isn't you, you still lose your wide board and all of your +1/+1 counters on the wide board in Zuko and all of the firebending. And then you start over and you're starting over from scratch.
White does have enough answers to that in the form of, like, besides Teferi's Protection, the ones that can blink, you can play freaking Appa.
Although if you blink,
your creature tokens disappear if you blink.
And the +1 counters.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
That will be sad.
Okay, phasing out all your guys or making them all indestructible in response. I always forget the name of the white free spell. It's something like Perfect Man or something like that. Flawless Maneuver. That's the one. I always think of, like, it's the Flawless Man. So I think that it is strong, but not so strong that it is like kill on sight. I think that it could be a good, like, you know, bracket 3.
A fair snowballing deck.
Yeah. I'd be happy to play against it. I'd be happy to lose to it, honestly. And that is one of the pieces of advice that I do give to a lot of Commander players. If you're concerned about, like, the feel-bads that sometimes happen when you win or when you lose to certain things you're not expecting, I would recommend that you try to build decks that you would still enjoy losing to if someone else were to play it against you.
Yep.
So, that said, we're on to Flopsy, Boomy's buddy, who is 4 generic and 2 green for a legendary creature, Ape Goat. He's a 4/4, and when Flopsy enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Each creature you control with power 4 or greater can't be blocked by more than one creature. That's not really Commander material, is it?
No.
That
is a little underpowered in pretty much each section of that's a lot of mana, that's not a lot of stats. The +1/+1 counters going wide is a big hoop to jump through. It's a ETB effect, so it only happens once. They can't abuse that really in green. and then
It's got something that feels like evasion, but isn't.
Yeah.
It's like reverse menace, kind of. It's good if your creatures already have trample, that they can't be double blocked and triple blocked and stuff. But
that also requires, I mean, a large, tall board of tramplers, in which case you're probably already winning, and this just helps win a tiny bit more.
I can imagine a deck out there that can like make a decent sized army, and like giving them all +1/+1 counters would be pretty good. There are obviously a lot of +1/+1 counter synergies out there, and yet you don't want this guy as your commander, and he's probably not even that good in the 99. I think he's lame.
Yeah.
Not even questionable, honestly. Although he might be one of the better ones among the lame. But yeah, you probably. I can imagine a deck that he goes in, but ugh.
It helps to have a little bit more tech for the ape and goat tribal players out there.
Ooh, good. That's true. There are not a lot of goats out there. So, although I think the existing goats are mostly in like red and white. Oh, you know what? He's very vulnerable to the classic staple of goat nap. Where, yeah, someone can steal your creature, and if it's a goat, it gets +3/+0. So watch out for goat nap being used against you. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Gran, who is the most unassuming grandma. I never thought that she would get a card. when I heard that they were doing an Avatar set, I Gran is one of the only named characters I can think of who's in like one episode-ish, and, you know, it would make no sense in a game that's about combat. But here she is. 1 blue for a 1/2 legendary creature, human peasant ally. Whenever Gran becomes tapped, draw a card and discard a card. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast as long as there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. Did I mention she's a 1/2? And peasant, by the way, I think that they are using the term peasant here as opposed to citizen, in that peasants live in like villages or outside of cities, whereas citizens live inside cities. So someone who lives in Ba Sing Se would be a citizen. Someone who lives in a tent in the Southern Water Tribe village here that barely has snow built up as a wall, they're a peasant. That said, I'm going to give you a minute to say what you want about Gran, because I've got some energy built up here.
So it does say whenever, and it's a non-capped whenever. You can loop it and do shenanigans. And discounts are super powerful. It has draw cards and mana on the same card. Great for commanders. And yeah, there's a couple ways you can break this to make a bracket 4 deck.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I've done. I've been spending the last couple of weeks breaking Gran. I also just think that it is like the funniest commander to possibly introduce into bracket 4. I don't think she quite goes bracket 5, because her whole deal is that you do need to have 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard in order to get that second ability, and that second ability is what really unlocks her potential. So, in my current build, I have like 22, 27 lessons, something like that. I have literally every lesson that you can play in a mono blue deck. And then the rest of the deck is Surveil, and it is looting, anything like that. And there's a whole lot of it. Plus a few things that can tap Gran. From Prismatic... what am I thinking of? Am I getting the name wrong? Yeah.
0 mana, 1 to equip.
Yeah.
Tap for a mana of any
Why
color.
the heck am I forgetting the name of it? I don't know. You know what? Okay. I'm gonna break a rule of mine that I've been doing here. Grand Slam. Okay? I'm going to show the actual deck I've been brainstorming, but we're not going to go too deep on it here. But needless to say, it's Paradise Mantle. That's what it is. Where you can equip her and then you can tap her for a blue. Now she produces mana while looting. You can do the same thing with Springleaf Drum, because you can normally only do it once a turn. In her deck, Mox Amber is quite good, because you always get her out on turn 1, so now you've made multiple mana. And you're basically just trying to win with Sensei's Divining Top being looped off the top of your library, because Sensei's Divining Top is free when you have her. And there are many ways of playing that for free off the top of your library. From the Reality Chip lets you play spells from the top of your library. Crystal Skull lets you play spells from the top of your library if they're historic and artifacts are. Magus of the Future, Future Sight, I think there's at least one other. Mystic Forge. All of those let you play Sensei's Top from the top of your library, and you just go infinite, and once you've gone infinite, you can kill people with any of the standard stuff that people kill people with, including... where is it?
Brain
It's an
freeze,
instant...
Thassa's
Yeah,
Oracle.
Brain Freeze. Yeah, I've got Lab Man in here, so you can just draw your whole deck and win. And then, yeah, lots and lots of lessons. Oh, Freed from the Real is really fun. Actually, Paradise Mantle and Freed from the Real go infinite on Gran, because you can tap Gran for a blue with Paradise Mantle, and then you can spend the blue to untap her, so then you draw and discard your entire library. So if you had Thassa's Oracle or Magus of the Future or Laboratory Maniac, you just win. So, needless to say, Gran can be busted if you're willing to jam 24 lessons into your deck.
Which hopefully you don't have to cast.
Yeah, you don't. But that's why the deck is bad, actually. After everything I just said, the deck is bad, actually, because you have no, other things that you can do besides the combo. You didn't see hardly any removal in there. You didn't see hardly any, counter spells, any protection for the combo. I had to throw everything out in order to make the rest of the deck to just combo as reliably as possible. Now
Turbo
that I've gotten
deck,
into this
which is,
phase,
Glass Cannon.
I don't know how you turn it into a reliable deck. So I want to say here. I think I have to put it in Excited, but with the caveat that I think this deck is actually kind of bad, even after everything that I just said.
Oh, it ends up being a Glass Cannon deck. It's
Yes,
just all about
yes, exactly.
speed and turboing out the combo, and if anyone has removal and stuff for you, then you're kind of stuck, and if anyone's faster, you're kind of stuck.
It is winning on average on turn 5, because it needs to, get the lessons, it needs to get the Sensei's Top, and most importantly, it needs to cast a spell that lets you play things from the top, and some of those cost as much as 5 mana. So, at the phase that I've got it at right now, it's winning on average on turn 5. It can win on turn 4. I think I did it on turn 3 once, but that's Goldfish, man. That's not a real game of Magic.
Yep, and there are other bracket 4 decks that can win at the same speed and still have some interaction for you. And
Gran.
Probably going to lose to those.
Yeah.
And then just it's a fun thought experiment to build for sure, and fun to Goldfish to tweak the deck and figure out how to make it work. It's probably one of the ones that if I built it, I would then play it once and then go, okay, I don't need to play that again, because it's just the actual physical things you're doing while playing aren't super fun. You don't get to interact with the rest of the table, and it's just drawing the small combo, wait to play it, and you spend a lot of time.
I hear you. I think that the last comment that I want to make about it is I think if you were to make this a more legitimate deck, then you would have to cut probably 10 or 12 of the cards I'm playing right now that make it a hyper-focused combo deck. Probably a number of the lessons that are in there that are just not good, because I threw in literally all of them. And you have a deck that is a little more patient, takes a little longer, and it does have a lot of interaction and, reliability and stuff. And so instead of racing to win by turn 5 consistently, you're winning on turn 7 because you are like kind of falling into more of the pieces that you need. It just takes you longer to get the lessons that you need in the grave and stuff. So that's probably an okay deck, but I think we've talked about Grand plenty.
Yep.
So, Guru Pathic, which I was never sure that I was hearing his name right in the show. I was like, does someone have a lisp, or is this like homeopathic or something? No, his name's Guru Pathic. And he's 2 generic and 2 blue-green hybrid, which is interesting. I thought that he would be white, but no, green does make sense, I guess, in light of this. And he's a human monk ally. He's a 4-mana 2/4, with when he enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a lesson, saga, or shrine card from among them. Put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever you cast a lesson, saga, or shrine spell, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control.
So we already got the new shrine tribal
Oh,
commander.
yeah, the panda.
So he's not filling that role as good.
No, although you might... I mean, he probably goes in the 99 of that. Yeah, triggering when you cast shrine spells, and also he finds you a shrine spell. He's probably okay in the 99.
Sure. I'm not sure if he's a lesson tribal commander, and already better saga tribal commanders could go in any of those decks.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, his main ability only happens... his first ability only happens the one time, and the second ability doesn't benefit him. He benefits your other... another target creature.
Yeah.
So just one, and just one counter. I don't think that scales particularly well.
No, I mean, you can blink him, but yeah, not in white. And even then, that's not the best thing in the world to be blinking.
I'm leaning towards lame. I was thinking about maybe questionable, but no, I think he's lame. Unfortunately, if you're searching for a lesson, saga, or a shrine, it only makes sense to build a deck that is either focused on lessons, or sagas, or shrines. The fact that he can go in all 3 of them does not help him in Constructed. It helps him in Limited. He's good in Draft and Sealed and stuff. But not in Commander, because he doesn't make the cut in a lesson, a saga, or a shrine deck, I don't think. Or maybe close in a shrine deck, but still maybe not. Yeah. So, Hakoda, Selfless Commander, is 3 and a white, and he says right there that he's your commander, so he's got to be a good commander. He's a human warrior ally who's a 3/5 with vigilance. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast ally spells from the top of your library, and you can sacrifice Hakoda, and creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Huh. So, play the top card of your library, but only if it's an ally. Huh.
Yeah, I don't think he's the commander you want for your ally tribal deck. There are better of those.
No, he's not.
Not horrible in an ally tribal deck. Not doing broken things in there, but but sure, might be what you want in some of those.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed that there's Appa flying away in the background.
Even Appa doesn't want to be involved.
He's like, "See ya, Hakoda. Good luck to you." Okay. The question for me is he questionable or is he lame? I think that he could... Or is he better than 99, actually? I think he could be decent in the 99 of an ally deck, considering he's got a
lower
3
end
at the
of
moment
that
you use it. Every creature is indestructible, 5 more toughness.
Yeah, it's we'll look at him and say the 4 mana cost is probably too much for a single turn of protection, and indestructible is not the best protection out there.
You know, casting off the top of the library in an ally deck is actually really good. It's card draw, basically.
Yeah, although it's It's clunky card draw. It could be 1, it could be 3, it probably is not draw 10.
It's got probably like a 2/3 chance, maybe 50-50 chance of letting you draw a card every turn. Honestly, I think that he's still... I kind of want to put him in better in the 99 because I do generally think that if you're playing a 2 or 3 color ally deck, there's a pretty strong chance you want to play him in the 99.
At the very least, look at it.
Yeah. Next we get to Hama the Bloodbender, who is one of my favorite characters from the show because she is she's probably the scariest villain, right up there with like Face Stealer Co.
Big existential threat.
Oh yeah. So Hama the Bloodbender is 2 black and 3 blue-black hybrids, so 5 mana total for a 3/3. Legendary creature human Warlock. And Warlock is used in Magic a lot to represent, like, witches, basically. Evil wizards. When Hama enters, target opponent mills 3 cards. Exile up to 1 non-creature, non-land card from that player's graveyard. And for as long as you control Hama, you may cast the exiled card during your turn by waterbending X rather than paying its mana cost, where X is its mana value. So this is another commander that... it has an enters trigger and only an enters trigger. And that puts it way down in my estimation.
Yeah, the ceiling is not very high.
Yeah. This is kind of like that Azula that we saw before, except even worse.
Yep.
In that, 5 mana for a 3/3, and then you likely get 1 thing from them. You can waterbend it, which kind of reduces the cost, but... not entirely, and then you're done. So you want to flicker her, I guess, or bounce her or something. When you're playing blue, so you can... heck, you're even playing her in black, and they're enough, like, this creature dies and then return to the battlefield things in black. And yet, is it worth it? I think no.
I don't particularly want my commander to be a pretty random card from someone else's deck that I have to pay 5 extra mana for. That doesn't seem like a fun deck. I want to choose my commander because I really like that card, not the meh card from someone else's deck.
Yeah. I really wish this said, like, at the beginning of your upkeep, you do this. That would be not crazy. I mean, a 5 mana 3/3 that wouldn't do anything until your next upkeep. But then she mills and steals something and you can waterbend all of it. That would feel a lot more like her in the show, too, and that, she could really, like, build up power as she steals more and more things, but...
it doesn't.
If wishes were fishes, then Hama the Bloodbender would not be lame. Unfortunate. Then we get to Haru Hidden Talent, which is another character who I'm kind of surprised got a card.
Yeah.
But they did go deep. Almost every character with a name is in here. Even this guy who, like, the story of the episode was how he kind of sucks at the only thing that he should be good at.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Another one for Peasant Tribal.
Oh yeah, hey. Well, he's a colorless and a green for a 1/1. Whenever another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. So, on his own, he's a 2 mana 1/1, and that's the end of the story. So, he only does stuff when other allies show up. Actually, that does fit his character in this show.
Yeah.
Where he is kind of a 2 mana 1/1 that doesn't do anything until allies show up, and then he can start to Earthbend. You know what? Flavor win, but this card is lame. Yeah. I'm sorry. If you have a bunch of allies enter, you can Earthbend a whole bunch, and, like, you have to work so hard before this guy starts giving you anything in return.
Yep.
So I think he's lame, although I'm once again not sure about the order here. Don't really worry about the order here too much. Hidden talent indeed. Hidden so deep I can't find it. Heibai, Spirit of Balance, is 2 and a black-white hybrid. Is 2 and 2 black-white hybrid. I actually really love looking at this card because it's hybrid. It's white on the left and black on the right, and I like that aesthetically quite a bit. For a legendary creature, Bear Spirit, because he is a panda. I love that. He's a 3/3. Whenever Heibai enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, put 2+1/+1 counters on Heibai, and when Heibai leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. Well, I think that's neat.
Yeah, might be some shenanigans you can do with building up a bunch of counters on him and passing them off.
Yeah.
With doubling season if you're in the green. On his own and as a commander, I'm not sure if there's a way to break him.
Yeah, I mean, he does have an enters or attack trigger, which I like. The sacrifice another creature or artifact is fairly flexible. Getting 2+1/+1 counters is, I'd say, barely acceptable as a reward for the commander doing that. So it can get kind of large. It reminds me a little bit of like Skullbriar in that it's a commander that you want to put +1/+1 counters on, and usually the fear that you'd have if you Voltron +1 counters on your commander is that when the number gets large enough that people care, then they kill it and you lose all the counters. But him moving his counters does provide a decent workaround for it, like Skullbriar getting to hold on to his as he changes zones.
Oh yeah, that's better because the whatever you move him to doesn't get to do commander damage.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot slower of a win con then.
Oh yeah, and Skullbriar is a 2-mana creature with haste. This is a 4-mana creature without haste. But it can start stacking up counters as soon as it enters. Sacrificing creatures for benefits. There's quite a few out there, especially in black, but to a lesser extent in white. I think I got to put this in questionable.
Yeah.
I think that it's neat. I would love to see a foil of it. I bet it'd be pretty. But I think I want to put it kind of at the top of questionable, in that I think that the rest of the 99 is probably going to perform better than him. It will be neat, though, maybe having an Aristocrats commander who is white. I don't know.
It was already that.
Yeah, there are some, I guess. Okay. Oh boy. Now we get to Iroh Grand Lotus, who was one of the commanders I was most hyped for, but since then I've seen it in action once, and I may have changed my mind. So he's 3, a green, blue, red, so 6 mana total in Teamer colors. For a legendary creature, human noble ally, he's a 5/5 with firebending 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. During your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback for just 1 generic mana. Now that has some potential.
Yep, at the very least, it has mana on it. It has pseudo card draw, and that you can use all of your cards twice. The new lessons are better than the old lessons.
Oh yeah. Some are just on par with its existing playable spells.
Yep, and any of them for 1 mana can be good value. That said, the deck as a whole, if you're doing fair stuff,
just for 1 generic mana could be pretty fun, as an example. But and I can close that. So okay. And one other thing I want to show is like a element here. I think it's Catalyst. Catalyst Stone. Your flashback costs are 2 less. So your non-lesson spells are very cheap, and your lesson spells are free for the second time.
Yeah.
Also, you don't need to cast them the first time. They can be looted or surveilled or something. You are playing blue.
Yep. There's also a lot of blue. Your instants and sorceries cost 1 less. That helps both times you play them rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
just the second time.
You can
How
fill up your
was
graveyard with self-mill and with faithless looting and demand answers, but how was the...
the one you played it or played
Oh
against it?
boy. So the problem was that every turn they threatened to win with Iroh. So every turn they would have like 2 or 3 spells in the graveyard that they could flash back to double his power, to give him double strike, to, something like that, so that he quickly became a like, so he's like a combat trick commander, but only on the offense, only when he's attacking. So I love Iroh as a character, and I think that if he instead only allow you to do his flashback stuff like on other people's turns, strangely enough, that might be less brutal. But as it stands, you can take extra combat steps, you can take extra turns,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what happened. On top of the decision paralysis of every spell you've cast previously in the game, you have in your graveyard as your second hand, not to mention your first hand, you can do it and then do it again from the grave. So the turns took a long time for this, granted, inexperienced player. But it just made Iroh far more terrifying and less fun than I expected. While still only usually being able to threaten one player at a time. Until you start going extra combats and extra turns, then it's like, I whop one guy for like 30, pass the turn, and get beat.
Yeah, that definitely has the potential for attracting a whole bunch of aggression against him because you're doing a scary thing, not necessarily... I mean, you're in blue, you could handle aggression if you built the deck that way with lots of counter spells and protection.
Although, once again, keep in mind, none of the text on him does anything on anyone else's turn.
Yeah.
And he's a 6-mana 5/5.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be pretty late in the game that you're playing him. The many people that will make this deck will fall into the trap of having some legitimately scary stuff in there. Not all of it is scary, and then they get a whole bunch of pushback and people removing him, and that will be kind of unfun.
Also, all of the lessons and things that were just crammed in there because you can play 3 colors worth of lessons that weren't like that scary or brutal ended up turning into kind of dirtling, where it's just drawing a card, untapping a thing, getting another land, doing it again, exiling it. Whoops, I forgot to do this thing that I could have done. Oh, I got to spend the firebending mana on something. And,
Definitely easy to make a deck that will make you unhappy to play, or the people you're playing against unhappy. Also throw in there that the ceiling for it is even higher than you'd mentioned.
Yeah? Even higher?
If you're a turbo combo player, you play a bunch of ramp spells that you get to do twice, and have a single tutor. That you get to do twice, and you just found both of your combo pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're a defensive tutoring combo player, you cast your first tutor spell to find a second tutor spell, cast your first tutor spell again to find combo piece A, and cast your second tutor spell to find a third tutor spell, cast it again to find combo piece B, and then, you're going to try and stop me? I can either find a fourth tutor spell or a counter spell that's free. And that is very resilient and very scary, can win on a 0-turn clock with any single 2-card combo you want, with a bunch of ramp and a bunch of counter spells, and he should be killed on sight then.
Yeah, I think he is a kill-on-sight commander, for sure. I think that you got to put him in high potential for that reason.
Yeah.
But I was excited to build him, and now I'm not. Because that's not the kind of... heat I was trying to bring with Iroh, even though Iroh can definitely bring some heat.
It's a deck
I'm now
that,
struggling because Iroh's my favorite character, and most of his cards are either too good or too not good. I haven't found the sweet spot yet.
and definitely in Rule Zero, need to say he is not. I have no tutors in here. I have no combo. I have none of these stuff. Otherwise, you will be forced to play a game that you don't want to play.
Yeah.
And that's sad when a otherwise fun commander, you're not allowed to have fun with it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at Iroh T-Master. He's got to be more fun, right? Look at this guy. He's even like kind of tubby. This is kind of the energy that I was more going for, I thought. An Iroh T-Master. I mean, heck, they even, look at that. They even made a tea food token, which is wonderful. So he's a colorless, a red and a white. So 3 mana for a 2/2 human citizen ally, because he's living in the city now.
Yep.
When Iroh enters, create a food token. Oh, good. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. When you do, create a 1/1 ally creature token and put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponents control. Oh, neat. So you're giving things to your opponents in exchange for allies of increasing size. That seems fair and reasonable.
The permanents you want to give away aren't exactly fair and or reasonable.
Yeah, I'll just get out Transcendence, which says you lose the game for having 20 or more life. So it's a lot of mana, sure, but late in the game you can cast Transcendence when you're below 20, and then give it to an opponent who's above 20, and they instantly die.
Yep, that can do some shenanigans and ruin some people's days.
Is this so? Oh yeah. Whenever you lose life, sacrifice a permanent for each 1 life you lost. That doesn't sound fun. You can give them Lich's Tomb.
Yep, go to combat with a couple creatures, give that to someone, and yeah.
Grim. I think it's Monitor. No. Grid Monitor. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Grid Monitor. You can't cast creature spells.
Yep.
I'll give that to somebody. I think there's even like Steel Golem. That'd be the one. Yep. Same thing.
I'm not sure.
Oh boy.
You're encouraged to play Iroh in a very on flavor way, which is a little sad.
Tanawa? Yeah, Tanawa's fun. Wait, no, that's right. He's red-white. Phew, you can't play Tanawa. I had a John Irenicus deck for a while that was very similar, and it was blue-black. I played Tanawa, where it's a 5-mana 7/7 trampler. Sounds too good to be true? Because it is, in Mirage, at least. You give it to one of your opponents, and then it phases out. So they don't get to use it for a turn. And then the next turn, when it phases in, it phases out all of their lands. So then they have to alternate turns between having Tanawa and having lands. Thankfully, you can only do Steel Golem and other stuff like that. So, I think that I could maybe build an Iroh deck that isn't that nasty, but then it's kind of like bracket 1.
Yeah.
Like, what am I giving? Am I giving them the food token? Or no, I want to give them something that they will keep around. That way I get bigger and bigger allies. And then I presume that the intention is to win by attacking with like an 8/8 ally and a 7/7 ally and a 6/6 ally. Is that really a plan?
Yeah,
That's hardly a plan.
I mean, you can red combat tricks and white protect them so they don't die to the board wipe, but yeah, not a S tier plan.
You can also play impetuses. You can play Martial Impetus. Wait. No, never mind. That doesn't work very well. Goaded. Okay. Well, because Goad does matter who controls the enchantment. Dang. There are probably auras that you can give to your opponents that wouldn't matter who has them. Enchantments you can give to your opponents that wouldn't matter who has them. I
But
think
then
I
you don't-
may still brainstorm him because honestly, he's one of the IROs that might not be broken if I hold back a little bit. But I think the best that I can say for him is he's questionable.
Yeah.
Then we're on to Zhong the Deserter, who's 2 and a red for a legendary creature human rebel ally. I love seeing rebels. Get a little more support for the rebel tribal. He's a 2/3 with Firebending 1 and Exhaust 3. Put a +1/+1 counter on Zhong. When you next cast a lesson spell this turn, copy it and you may choose new targets for the copy. Keeping in mind that you can activate each Exhaust ability only once. Unless he
Cast
dies and
Commander
comes
again,
back
yeah.
or you flicker him or something. And then you can absolutely do it again.
But
and-
if he's died or come back, you're not getting extra +1/+1 counters on him because he's we lost the original counters.
Yeah, but if the main benefit
copy,
is
yeah.
the copying the thing, I have heard people are wanting to do this in some red inclusive ally decks, in some blink decks that do firebending, airbending, some combination. I'm still not sold that he's that good, but apparently he's kind of a combo piece in the middle of that stuff when you exhaust him and then flicker him and then exhaust him again and then flicker him.
Are there any lessons that let you flicker him and or make mana?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'll skim through the red lessons.
Probably not a lot of red blink
Oh,
spells.
combustion technique. That's fun. Deal 5 damage to each creature. Whenever a creature you control dealt damage this way dies this turn, add red. Oof. Well. Oh yeah, that's the one time
Yeah.
that Aang burnt Katara. Oh, great. Oh shoot, I forgot about... There were a couple of colored lessons in Strixhaven, just not many. So I don't see much here that, just skimming that would make sense. So
There evidently are combos that exist. Know that if someone plays it against you, but
they're
Not-
usually not in mono red.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're really in mono red. So I've heard that he's better in the 99, but I'm putting him intentionally at the bottom of better in the 99 because I'm not sold. But maybe. And I think that I should be going over some of these faster because hopefully we've gone over the most interesting ones, the ones that we have the most to say about already. But there are probably still some good ones yet to come. There's still a lot. But Jet Freedom Fighter is an uncommon, which is actually a bad sign. For 2 generic and 3 red-white hybrid, he's a human rebel ally. He's a 3/1, so Jet goes down easy.
Yep.
And when he enters, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature an opponent controls. Oh, so he does a big ambush. And then, when he dies, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Let's say if he dies.
Yeah.
For flavor reasons, if he dies, everybody, not when.
Yeah. That's not a great payoff.
No.
And
I think this is actually one of the better, airbending ally, the flicker ally deck triggers that you can get.
I would be happy to pay 2 for him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be particularly happy to pay 5 for him.
Yeah, I'm going to be especially happy if I can, ephemerate him on someone else's turn in order to deal, 7 damage to a creature at instant speed. That'd be pretty cool. But I think he's genuinely a bad commander. But I think he's got potential in the 99. So somewhere around, here.
Sure, yeah, if you have an allies deck or something and you want one more removal spell, and are fine with paying that much.
Yeah. Let's see. June Bounty Hunter. Another one of my favorite characters from the show. Frequent viewers of this channel may be able to tell that I kind of have a type then. But she's a colorless and a black for a 2/2 human mercenary. She can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Interesting. And for a colorless and sacrifice another creature, you create a clue token, activate only during your turn.
It's not the best sack outlet out there.
I want to like her. I want to, but
Yeah,
she doesn't have the pieces. Being able to be unblockable under some conditions as a 2/2 in mono black is not that useful. And then
not gonna make that a Voltron commander.
you can sacrifice another creature, but you have to pay a mana, and the payoff is a clue, which doesn't do anything unless you pay 2 more mana, and you can activate it only during your turn. Why'd she need to have, like, all the restrictions put on her? Like, she doesn't draw a card, she makes a clue. She doesn't do it at instant speed, only, well, during your turn anyway. She doesn't do it for free, it's 1 mana. Jeez.
I mean, it would have been too powerful probably for her to have just the no mana sacrifice another creature, because they've already printed a lot of those, and those are super powerful and aristocrat stuff.
Yeah.
And so another one I can see, that starts to be too good, to have too many of those.
Honestly, I would love her as like a Viscera Seer that instead of Scry 1, she makes clues. A 2 mana legendary Viscera Seer where you can just sacrifice all the creatures that you want for value later. That would be cool. She's not that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as much as I enjoy her character, she's lame.
Yep.
She's not as lame as Haru, jeez, but these things don't even work together very well. It's not like she's ever going to be large.
The clue does let her become unblockable. But
yeah, okay, you pay 1, you sack a creature this turn, you make a clue. Maybe the next turn you then crack the clue after have... Or no, you could have 3 mana in the same turn, of course, still, and maybe the creature that you're sacrificing is like one that makes you a treasure when it dies or something. I don't know. You have to work really hard in order to get a 2/2 to be unblockable or to draw a card. So, then we're on to Katara Bending Prodigy, who is the uncommon Katara. So she's 2 and a blue for a legendary creature, human warrior ally. She's a 2/3. At the beginning of your end step, if Katara is tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on her. Okay. Waterbend 6, draw a card. Okay. And that quote, "You can't knock me down," isn't that something that she says in one of the last episodes of season 1 to, like, Master Paku, I think, who's trying to train her?
Sounds right.
Yeah. So this is season 1 Katara. It's really feeling kind of like episode 1 Katara, but she has some waterbending skills, so it's like maybe mid-season 1. Because episode 1, she can barely waterbend. She kind of can't do it on purpose. That said, 6 to draw a card sounds bad.
It
is.
But it's unlimited. So if you have infinite mana, you have your whole library.
And over the course of a game, you can get out more and more creatures and more artifacts that you can tap to draw cards more and more easily or more times.
And yeah,
it can be done at instant speed, so you can keep your blue mana open, and then at the end of somebody's turn, draw a card or something.
Although mono blue keeping 6 mana open, that's a real draw pass deck. But sure.
Also, this is going to be a really good card, I think, in a lot of decks, but especially in waterbending ones. 3 mana, it's a manalith, right? It's your commander sphere, except it untaps during each other player's untap step.
Great for the control, great for the turbo that needs control but isn't willing to hold the mana up normally. Various
toolboxes and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah.
Any deck that can afford to invest 3 colorless is going to see a lot of, and has instant speed stuff to spend colored mana on. It's going to be great. So obviously it's good in a Katara deck, but that doesn't by itself make her a good commander, though it helps. If she's tapped, then you get a counter on her. So, of course, she can be tapped by attacking like you would with any other creature, but of course she can also be tapped for waterbending, which is part of the point. I mean, this isn't terribly exciting to me, but she does have the ability to grow in multiple ways of making her either larger or drawing cards. I'm leaning towards questionable. You know, like around here.
Yeah, no, there are ways to make her high power.
Yeah.
But those are all in the 99 mono blue get infinite mana stuff. That's I mean, if many other ways to do that and that are better.
Yeah.
And then sure you have the payoff in the command zone rather than elsewhere. But yeah, not my favorite of those decks.
Now, skip ahead a couple of seasons. This is basically Katara at the finale. Katara the Fearless. She's riding on a Fire Nation Zeppelin. And she's a green, a white, and a blue for a legendary creature, Human Warrior Ally. She's a 3/3. It says, if a triggered ability of an ally you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. And I just want to say right off the bat, I think she might be one of, if not the best ally commanders.
Yep, that is a definite thing you can do with her. And yeah, there's a couple of them that are good. She's up there, different colors, different flavor of that deck. And definitely viable. A lot of people will build that.
The majority of allies have triggered abilities, and doubling them, like a lot of the allies, even the old ones, the ones from Zendikar blocks past, would usually have enters triggers. Doing them again their enters triggers are often more important than their bodies. So doing them again is very powerful. And also, she is an ally. So while she doesn't have any triggered abilities built in, on the latest episode of Game Nights, I saw Josh Lee Kwai built her, and he put in a dozen or more different ways of giving her triggered abilities.
A lot of the swords or similar equipment stuff.
Yep.
Would be weird to make her Voltron, but probably viable.
Yeah, I saw her with some backgrounds, as well as with the card Combat Research, where whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Okay. +1/+1. Okay. Ward 1, sneakily, is a triggered ability.
Ward 2, yeah.
Yeah, Ward is a triggered ability. So if you give her Ward in any various way, it is doubled.
It would be a very fun deck to brew in that you get to search for quite a while on what actually works with this that I never thought of those words before.
Yeah.
And just keep discovering new things that work with her. And granted, that won't translate after the brewing stage all that as well, because if I've seen that across the table and someone plays a thing and attaches it to her, then, oh yeah, you probably get to do that twice. And I'll just assume that, yep, it says Ward? Okay, let me double check. Yep, that works out. She gets that twice. She gets a to do something when she goes to combat. She probably gets that twice.
The rule of thumb generally is going to be when it says creature has and then puts it in quotes.
Yeah.
That usually, that should always mean that it gives her a triggered ability, as long as the ability that gives her says something like when or whenever.
Yeah.
Ward 1 is a little sneakier because it doesn't say obviously that's a triggered ability, but the reminder text for Ward does.
Yeah.
So it can be... Oh, and I tried doing searches for that. However, have you tried doing a search for in quotes? A search for quotation marks.
Harder.
So I actually gave up on that when I was doing it last night, I think. So that said, I think that she has one of the highest potential, arguably exciting. In fact, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to put her up here.
Sure.
Yeah, so you can build an allies deck, or you can maybe even do some kind of weird Voltron deck with her, just giving her keyword or triggered abilities. But good luck on the mountains of research that you might need to do to sort that out.
Yeah, if that's fun, awesome. You have a lot of fun in front of you. Or wait 6 months and net deck it.
Yeah. Look up. You know what? You might want to look up online what are triggered abilities that work with her. Go to the EDH rec page and then double check on there, because people will get it wrong on EDH rec every once in a while.
Yep.
Not most of the time, but occasionally. Next, though, we have Katara Water Tribe's Hope, which looks to me like Season 1 finale Katara, because I believe she is fighting against the Fire Nation invasion on this little bridge in the town, and is just whooping butt. So she's 2 a white and 2 blue, so 5 mana total for a 3/3 human warrior ally. With Vigilance, when Katara enters, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Waterbend X. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX until end of turn. X can't be 0. Activate only during your turn. Okay, so it's like a mirror entity ability? I'm glad that they include the whole X can't be 0 thing, because that's one of the stupidest things you can do with mirror entity. In response, I kill my whole army.
Hey, it's a sack outlet.
I've done it!
0 mana sack outlet wouldn't be horrible.
I've done it when like someone was going to steal my whole army or something. I'm like, well, they're all dead.
Kind of sad that you lose that niche ability, but oh well.
Ooh, or in response to a living death.
Yeah.
In response to your living death, my whole army is dead. Now they come back. Thank you. Katara cannot do that trick, but that's okay. That's not what you really should be using that on most of the time anyway. And waterbending X, rather than just paying X, you can, tap your creatures in order to do that. Tap your artifacts.
I'm going to go to combat with 10 1/1s. I'm going to tap all of them to buff my 1/1s to be 10 10s. I go to combat and can't attack with them.
Well, unless they have Vigilance. She has Vigilance. I think that this is a good deck to include stuff that like gives your whole army Vigilance.
I guess go to combat, leave them untapped, then tap them afterwards to buff them.
Yeah, what's that trumpet card that you like? Is it this one?
Yep.
Yeah, at the beginning of each player's end step, tap all untapped creatures that player controls that didn't attack this turn. This artifact deals damage to the player equal to the number of creatures tapped this way, but all creatures have Vigilance. So that could be fun, in that you are making all kinds of ally tokens. You're playing a number of allies, and you're giving them all Vigilance so that you can waterbend in the middle of combat to make all of your 10 1/1s into 10 10s.
Yep. Granted, I mean, it foreshadows that this is a go wide deck when my finisher is to buff big. But yeah, you can do that repeatedly. And so start chipping away early. I say early, she's 5 mana. And then you need more mana afterwards. But
And there's some decks where you can play 0/1 tokens for next to nothing. Some goats and stuff like that. And then
the Eldrazi.
The Eldrazi spawn and stuff. It'll be kind of weird seeing Katara team up with some Eldrazi, but in a pinch, anything's better than the Fire Nation. Actually, no, the Fire Nation would probably team up with her against the Eldrazi. If the Eldrazi showed up, the Fire Nation would be like, you know what? Hey, let's bury our differences here. So all that said, I think she is okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to be particularly scared if I see her across the table. I'll know what they want to do, and they can do it, and it will be reasonably well. And I mean, probably not bracket 4, but you can make a decent bracket 3 deck.
Yeah, I think I want to put her at the top of questionable, because I don't think that she's actually better in the 99. And at 5 mana, and she has the Enter's ability to make a single ally, I think that she's still not terribly strong, but she does have some potential in there. That waterbending ability is the main thing that could go huge, but you have to have an army to make huge. So it might be an unthreatening army of 7 goats, but if Katara is the commander, don't let him have an army of 7 goats.
Yeah.
Don't look at those 0/1s like they're harmless when Katara is the commander.
It could go in the Aang Wooburg discount deck where you get to pay 1 to waterbend on a later turn.
Is that how it works? It's Eng makes your spells cost less, and waterbending is an
Yeah,
ability.
no, you want it to flip him.
Oh,
You can flip him for 1 after you've already paid.
Gotcha. Yeah, as your easy waterbend.
Yeah.
Wait, activate only during your. Wait, that means that if she is in the 99 of your Avatar Aang deck, you can pay 1 to have your creatures become 1/1s and draw a card. And you can do that as many times as you want.
True.
Yeah. So actually, her in the 99 of that Aang deck. I mean, granted, you'd probably want to do it post-combat so that you aren't turning all your creatures into 1/1s and then attacking.
Yeah.
But post-combat, yeah, you can just basically pay X, draw X cards.
Tap 1 creature, draw a card. Tap 1 creature, draw a card.
You can only do it during your turn, but it doesn't have any other cap on it. So it's pretty... Actually, that does make her... You know what?
Ooh.
Does that upgrade her to better in the 99? I think it does.
And what happens if you have any of the... You can pay 1 less to activate a creature's ability?
Oh, that works great, because you can say that X is 1,
Pay 0.
and then pay 0.
And draw your library.
Because the value of X can't be less than 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have... what's an example of... Training Ground, I think, is one of them. I think they even reprinted that one. Yeah. Yes. This is really good with her.
That actually, if you have her as your commander, and that...
you can make all of your creatures 2 bigger, or you can make your creatures into, 1/1s for 0, but...
Well, just draw your whole library.
2 2s for a man... Well...
And then brain
she
freeze.
She doesn't draw a card unless you're playing in that Aang deck.
True.
Yeah.
Then...
So, but there are some synergies here. I did upgrade her to better in the 99 because she is really good in that Aang deck, and maybe a few others.
Yep.
Ko the Face Stealer is perhaps the most complicated commander in this set when you start getting into the nitty gritty of the rules. Because it is 4 and 2 black for a 6/6, so 6 mana 6/6 Shapeshifter Spirit. When Ko enters, exile up to 1 other target creature. So it is removal right off the top. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may exile it. Okay, so we got some Leyline of the Void kind of thing going on here. And pay 1 life, choose a creature card exiled with Ko. And then Ko has all activated and triggered abilities of the last chosen card. So, importantly, there isn't a way of having 2 cards chosen at the same time, so you cannot have all of the activated and triggered abilities of multiple cards.
Although you can put some of the stuff on the stack and then swap them around.
Yes. And some things that you can imagine that would combo that way do work, and some don't. So
And you can't do some of the loops unless the loop gains you life. I.e., if it's the swapping infinite times, you'll kill yourself.
Yeah.
Eventually. But yeah, if someone plays this across the table, I'm expecting them to do combo shenanigans. I'm expecting them to do graveyardish combo shenanigans, which means I don't care about how much mana that stuff is. They can do it fast. And
honestly, if this said you don't control on the first 2 abilities, so you can't exile your own stuff, I think this card would be awesome. But since you can get your own stuff, the thing is, I mean, even more awesome, but now...
now needs to be removed pretty fast.
Yeah, it's absolutely a kill-on-sight commander. He becomes a combo machine. I don't even know what the combo pieces are, but they certainly exist. You will find them. You're playing mono black, the color of Tutors, the color of Buried Alive, of Entomb.
Yep. And yeah, it means even if I don't recognize the card they've played, read it twice, there's probably a combo with it. And even if I don't know what the combo is, I'm still probably killing the commander once they play something.
Yeah.
Because there can be combos I don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some version of the old Exquisite Bond combo, like Exquisite Blood, Sanguine Bond. There are creatures that have those texts written on them now, and some of them are mono black. So I don't know all the things that this can do. I'm not sure anyone knows currently all the things that this can do, but it is nuts.
It will be fun for a few people to discover what it can do for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other people will net deck it, and that's not super fun to build.
Yeah.
But I guess if you want to actively stop yourself from net decking, you can also discover those things for the first time. And if so, have fun.
Okay.
I will not do that and kill you once you bring that deck to the table.
You know what I think I'm going to need to do here? I wasn't sure to begin with, but where we are right now, I think we need to make it a two-parter.
Sure.
We have so many left to go, and like I said, I think that we've gotten out some of the cards that we had the most to say about, like Aang and Azula and Gran and Iroh. There are just so many commanders in this set, 65 total, and we've been through, about 30 of them. I think I'm going to break this into a second part, and hopefully, though, by the time that you're hearing this, there's already the other Avatar one up for viewing pleasure. We're recording this on release weekend, so hopefully you guys are going to be getting inspired by some of the things we've talked about. Hopefully you didn't know some of the things that we have told you about these cards to inspire you. So that said, we've got more to say, but I think we'll have to say it in the next one. So thanks for listening to us, and hope you check back for the other half. All right, bye-bye.